Hey, honey.
Yes, Barry?
Let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Este ritmo de palmas, sin naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants here. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos Beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant and Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we're going to have a little fun. It's going to be a meet and greet over at JR's favorite meet and greet place, Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse. We had this meet and greet back in October, and I'm finally getting around to bringing it to you. And also, it's been a long time since we've heard from JR. He has a horseback ride that he wanted to tell me about, this little story. So we'll see what's happening with JR. And that meet and greet. And before that, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 15th of June, 2020. Well, the middle of June usually means rain in Puerto Vallarta, and almost like clockwork, Vallarta is having thunderstorms and rain. I don't know how many inches, but when Angela, the weather station lady, begins to report the latest measurements, I will let you all know, but I'll hold off on those estimates until then. The beach and the Malecon, the entire place is due to open up tomorrow, June the 16th. I just spoke with Salvador Estrada, the candy man over on the Malecon. You know him. He's our friend who is wheelchair bound. He sells candy in front of the dance clubs over there. And he is also a marathoner. And if you don't know Salvador, if you don't know his story, I have a link to our conversation in the show notes. Of course, you can find that at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com and look up the Candyman. Anyway, Salvador says that he's going to go back to work tomorrow. The governor gave the go-ahead to open the beaches and the Malecon on Tuesday, June 16th. So face masks are still encouraged outdoors when you are in town, and I think on the beach too, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, here in Southern California, today marks the day that beaches open in Los Angeles. In other words, you can actually sit on the beach before you could walk on it. But now San Diego, Los Angeles, Orange, and Ventura counties, they have all opened up their beaches. And in Ventura County, where I live, it's kind of interesting. Things are different wherever you happen to be, evidently. Where I live, most of the restaurants are open. Face coverings are not required outdoors, and many places they are optional if you are indoors. Just over the hill in LA County, just a couple of miles away from me, face masks are required while you're outdoors as well as indoors inside of businesses. So it's kind of like night and day, just across the county line. So it's very interesting. And it is the same in Puerto Vallarta. As a matter of fact, the beaches in Nayarit are closed still. But in Puerto Vallarta, in Jalisco, they're open. So as you can see, there is rhyme and reason, I guess, but whatever. Anyway, just an aside, when you're selling real estate here in Southern California, things are different from county to county too. We require buyers and sellers to sign forms and disclosures, and disclosures of understanding about the Rona, And we're required to wear masks and gloves and even booties in some instances when we're showing houses to buyers. So they also limit the number of buyers that you can have inside the house at two, at least for now. So things change hour by hour, minute by minute around here, but that's the way things go nowadays. People are signing waivers so that they can take a look at houses. It looks like Vallarta Food Bank has hit the big time. They made it into Mexico Daily News. And here's the article. It reads, Restaurant starts food pantry for needy citizens, now a permanent food bank. It was mid-March, and restaurateurs Francine Nguyen, Jimmy Pluff, and Frankie Victoria Banuelos Estrada watched as theirs and other local businesses closed as the coronavirus began to spread in Mexico. Tourism in Puerto Vallarta, one of Mexico's premier tourist destinations, had abruptly stopped, and thousands of local people were out of work with no end in sight. We thought we should do something to help, recalled Nguyen, Pluff, and Banuelos. They had already closed their restaurant, Tunnel Road Barbecue, and turned it into a food pantry for the neighborhood, but they wanted to do more. Pooling their expertise, resources, and food know-how, they started the Vallarta Food Bank with a simple, direct goal that no one would go hungry. A humble beginning of giving away 6 despensas or food packages has blossomed into a weekly distribution of 3,000 packages of basic necessities delivered to remote villages, handed out at the food bank site, or distributed through other local agencies and soup kitchens. The nonprofit volunteer-based organization's mission is to make sure everyone has food on their table. The poverty that surrounds paradise is overwhelming, said Pluff. So many people come here year after year and never see this side of Mexico. Banuelos has been the major force in finding distributors, negotiating the best prices. The food bank now buys up to 15 tons of food each week, purchasing in bulk and then proportioning rice, beans, lentils, pasta, oatmeal, tortilla flour, milk, tuna oil, sugar, fresh vegetables, and paper and hygiene products into individual despensas that end up costing them about 120 pesos or about $5.40 U.S. per 10-kilo bag. Pretty impressive, you guys. This month we're spending $73,000 U.S. to make up 12,500 despensas, which is the equivalent of 350,000 meals for the families in need, said Nguyen. That's a huge amount of money, and we're grateful for every cent. A recent phone call from the mayor's wife on behalf of the DIF Family Services Agency illustrated how great the need is and how fast it's growing. She said 150,000 people have asked him for help, and that their system is overwhelmed. We do what we can, but we can't feed 150,000 people, said Nguyen, obviously distressed. We're growing to meet the need, trying to feed 3,000 families a week. As long as we can keep up the fight against hunger with the people's help. The Vallarta Food Bank functions with a detailed registration process and database to ensure that those in need are taken care of on a weekly basis. Each family then receives a card for 5 weeks of despensas, at which time they're evaluated again. Packing, organizing, and deliveries are made by a network of 60-plus volunteers who work together as an efficient team. Pluff stressed that their organization is transparent and detailed financial information is updated regularly on their website. We honor all financial support by keeping our operations 100% volunteer-based, with only 5% going to rental utilities and non-food supplies, said Pluff. This allows us to distribute the equivalent of 5 meals for every U.S. dollar that we receive. The challenge now is the rainy season, already predicted to be the worst than ever before. Those who live in or who have been to Vallarta in the summer know that the rains are torrential for days at a stretch. That is why the food bank created a rainy season pledge, this special 3-month commitment to help during this especially difficult time. More information about how this works can be found on the website. While they've done and are doing so much, the Vallarta Food Bank is also looking ahead to the future. They've just signed a long-term lease on a property and are busily remodeling even while they continue to function. Pluff and Mamuelos donated all the kitchen equipment, furniture, and air conditioners from their restaurant to the project. We decided that what Vallarta needs more than great barbecue restaurant is what Vallarta Food Bank is quickly becoming, said Pluff, adding that Tunnel Road Barbecue will not reopen. We'll pour all of our hearts and our time into making Vallarta Food Bank a permanent fixture of hope and light for the community that has given us so much. So now they have a permanent location. The food bank waits to improve their food programs to include these initiatives. Soup kitchens instead of despensas. Families can get hot food 6 days a week. Food market recipients can use points to purchase their choice of food and necessities specific to what their family needs. Food system collaborative to support local agriculture by partnering with local food growers to provide and trade fresh food at the market. They are going to have an elderly box program, monthly delivered a box of food and necessities to the elderly in the community. Food scholarships. Clients will receive food scholarships when they commit to programs and improve their job skills. And their vision says, our vision doesn't end with providing emergency food assistance, said Pluff. We want to help improve the livelihoods of the families in Vallarta. Our goal is to create a community center where anyone can sign up for skill training programs to improve their job prospects like English, electrical, carpentry, sewing, plumbing, and entrepreneurship. We feel like we need to help this community to be more self-sustainable and not depend on just tourism, added Nguyen. Since they started the food bank, they have been asked the same question over and over, how can I help? If you are able, we'd love it if you could make a donation, said Pluff. The direct impact of your contributions is simple. The more funds we receive, the more dispensas we can pack and distribute. The need never slows down. We will be here as a promise of hope to the vulnerable population of Vallarta, he continued. We cannot do that. We cannot do what we do without the support of the many generous donors and volunteers working hard behind the scenes. We remain mission-focused. No one goes hungry. Thank you to all the people and the businesses that have made this possible, and we will remain Vallarta strong. And for more information or to make a donation by credit card or PayPal, you visit www.vallartafoodbank.com, and that article is in my show notes. It's from the Daily Mexico Daily News. So, way to go. And listen, you guys, if you can give, this is a great way to help your Vallarta family. All right, I got an email from a listener, my buddy Cheryl from Indiana, and she's got some sad news for those of you who knew Esteban over on the beach. Here's her email. She writes, Esteban, the beach vendor who sold expensive and beautiful jewelry, passed away recently. He was a wonderful gentleman who designed unusual and unique pieces. He was only 60 years old. Esteban was well known and respected. His presence will be greatly missed in the Puerto Vallarta landscape. He was instrumental in removing the child vendors from the beach. He felt children should be in school and not begging. Hope things improve soon in paradise. We left 2 months early. Miss your podcast. Hope to see you next season, Cheryl. All right. Well, that is sad news. And, you know, I didn't know about Esteban and his campaign to let kids be kids. I looked for a story about his crusade to end that exploitation of children, you know, working way too young. I do have a picture of Esteban, and it is in the show notes. Thanks for sending that along to me, Cheryl. And if you want to have a look and see if you recognize him, it will be right there. It'll be in the show notes. So, descansa en paz, amigo. Rest in peace, my friend. Now, as far as missing my podcast, Cheryl, I'm just stretching out my episodes. I may be able to start getting one out, one a week now, until I return to paradise. I don't know. We're going to find out. Anyway, I got another email, and thanks for these emails, by the way. Thanks very much. Keep them coming. This one is from listener Monica, and she writes, "Hi, Barry. Thanks for your show. I was listening to the episode where you interviewed Super Mario about his panga, and I thought that your call out to book early to help out was a great idea. We'd love to do that, but I can't find any contact info for Mario online or in your show notes, so maybe I'm missing them, and thanks in advance. Cheers, Monica." All right, well, Monica, thank you. Thanks again for that email. I did answer Monica, and I sent her the info, but if you are looking for Super Mario's information, I do have links to that all over the show notes for that episode right now. I put it at the top of the page, in the middle of the page, and at the end of the page, so you should be able to find it. But you can hook up with Mario, look for Mario's Facebook page, and I have a link to that as well in the show notes. As a matter of fact, I actually also sent some money to Mario to reserve my day trip when I return in August. And my reservations are for August the 8th. I'm going to be there 8th through the 18th. I'm going to go in for the rain and the heat and the humidity this time because when I asked Salvador what was the most miserable month, what was the hottest, what was the most humid in Puerto Vallarta, he tells me August. And I figured that a guy who sits in a wheelchair on the Malecon all day long selling candy for a living pretty much would know what was the hottest month of the year. So I'm going with that. And I got to get over there and record some interviews and get back to paradise. So here we go. And speaking of getting back to paradise, listener Hillary, the same Hillary who wants to interview me for my own podcast, she's currently in Puerto Vallarta. She's such a trailblazer. I know she's having a great time, and she's doing volunteering while she's there, and I'm sending her a microphone, and we're going to get some firsthand information on what it's like reopening in Puerto Vallarta. So that's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. Hillary doesn't know this yet, but it's coming, Hillary. I'm sending you a mic when you get back home, okay? All right, let's get to the interview, shall we? All right, so the first interview is with our buddy JR, John Russell of VallartaInfo.com fame, and my co-host. It's been a long time since we've had JR on the show. A couple months back, I interviewed JR when I was in town. I was visiting him up at his apartment, and I busted out my recorder and my microphones, and I wanted to know about his recommendations for guided horseback tours. And so he had a funny story to tell me. And so let's listen in on that. And yeah, let's go right now to Colonia El Coloso. And we'll hear his story. And then after he tells the story, he will tell you about his guide, Rafa, that also does horseback tours. So take it away, JR. So, JR, why don't you tell me a little bit about this horseback ride that you were telling me about? You took it from what, Talpa to
from
El Tuito?
Talpa de Allende to El Tuito. I had a lady friend who wanted to get her horse from Talpa down to El Tuito because she was living here and wanted a horseback, right?
Yeah.
So I went with her to Talpa. We found another horse for me and basically took off.
Now, how far is that ride from Talpa? I mean, how long in distance?
2.5 days.
But how about miles?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. You
I
just
know,
know
no.
time.
I mean, 2.5 days.
Yeah.
It's like when my friend had a row with his wife. Actually, it was David and Isabel, and he had a row with her and decided to go back to Toronto and walk to the airport. And somebody said, "Well, how long did it take?" And he said, 10 beers.
There you go.
So I mean, it's how you judge things down here aren't necessarily precise. And anyhow, so we take off, and it's a dirt road that goes from Talpa de Allende to the small head village of Quali, which is where the River Quali comes from. Quali was a big gold mining area. In fact, on the way we go through the still existing mine, which is no longer gold but various other minerals they're extracting. And there's actually a gate you have to open to pass through. And that's an interesting point because it comes back later in the story.
Yeah.
So we take off, and it's over the mountains, and it's up in the clouds almost, pretty high, probably 6,000 feet, something like that. And we come down through the mine and then over another little hill to Kwale. By the time we get to Kwale, it's dark. So there's no way to stay in Kwale. There's not even there's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing for rent, or there's nothing. So we stop at this abarrotes store, and the lady who owns it, Lydia, some of her sons had left and moved to Vallarta, so she had a couple of extra rooms which we rented. Lydia comes back in the story later. So we stay there, and we find a place for the horses to get them fed and for the night, and saddle up next morning and move on. And the trail, by the time it starts to get dark, we're still away at least half a day from El Tuito. And we find a small area of ranches, most of them abandoned, but one old man and his dog and his pigs and his his chickens and one mule were living very primitively, clay oven, and so we I think she knew the guy from some previous time. His wife had left him, and so he was all alone. So we put our sleeping bags down outside and get in and nod off, right? In the middle of the night, I hear this shuffling noise, and both I and my lady friend wake up and look, and there's all the pigs in a big crowd approaching us.
Uh-oh.
So she turns and looks at them and says, "Piss off!" And they left. I thought it was pretty good. Okay, so to continue, the guy says, "Oh, I know a shortcut trail." Right, a much smaller, narrower trail, not the main drag. And so we take off, him and the dog, right? The dog came with us all the way. And we eventually make it down to the main Route 200, a little bit north of El Tuito, right? And ride into El Tuito, and I catch the bus because I've got blisters you wouldn't believe. And I'm not going to, Anyhow, so I catch the bus back, and she gets the horse boarded and everything. Subsequently, the horse escapes and returns to El Tuito.
Oh, really?
And even a report from some people, I don't know how she found out, but some people said they were driving and they came to the gate at the mine, and there was this horse waiting, right? This white horse.
So it didn't go back to El Tuito. It went back to Allende.
Yeah.
Talpa de Allende.
Yeah. Did I say Tuito?
You did.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
It decided to go back, so and they opened the gate for the horse, and it took off. And, of course, she, when the horse was missing, she went apeshit. But then eventually the people in Talpa said, "Hey, your horse is back."
How did that happen? It just walked all
the
way back.
It walked pretty good to El Tuito, so it didn't have any problem. Didn't have anyone on the back. It was a lot easier, I don't. Of course, it didn't even have a saddle.
Right. Free going.
The other interesting fact is that Lydia is the aunt of Reyes, who works at Que Pasa, and Chewy, who has Moro Paraíso.
Really? All right. Wow, everybody knows everybody, don't they, around
Right.
here?
I mean, they're all connected.
Everybody knows everybody. Well, yeah, I guess if you say, hey, I know Chewy at Moro Paraíso, probably half of everybody up in the mountain knows him, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's a small place. It's a small place. I mean, I was arranging a horseback ride for somebody yesterday with my contact, Rafa. His real name is Rafael, who lives in Pasawancho.
Okay.
And he's pretty economical, and he's got some decent horses, and he speaks English, or at least a certain amount of English. And so I call up his cell phone, and no answer, and I think, oh. So I called my maid, who lives in Pasawancho, and I said, hey, you see Rafa, tell him I got a
booking.
A ride, some tourists for him on Thursday.
And that works out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just like sending up a smoke signal or something.
Yeah, no, everybody knows everyone,
All right, let's talk about Rafa. What kind of tours does he give?
Rafa does a couple of small tours, a 3-hour tour and a 4-hour tour. I don't have the prices on hand at the moment.
Oh, that's okay. I'll
but
put
it's
links
on the website.
And I'll put links to that in the show notes. Check them out there.
And basically, you cross the river several times, except during the rainy season.
Right. Where you can get
it's
swept
a little
away
bit
and
too
die.
deep then.
Right.
But now, be crossing the river, and there's a trail on the other side of the river from the highway that goes up quite high. You go through a lower part to begin with, and there's various ranches and things, and I've seen... one time there was an armadillo running up
cool.
the trail ahead of us.
You have armadillo here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, yeah, we got we got white-tailed deer, cougars.
Right. Well, I've seen those cougars. They're walking downtown, most of them, right?
Yeah, with the sharks. Anyhow, it goes up, and it's a new trail road that they built, and it goes up quite high. You get a nice view down onto the river, and you can look down on Moro Paraíso, which you pass on the other side of the river, and then you come down to the cement bridge on Route 200. Oh, not Route 200. When I'm talking about the Quali Road.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, which after, if you were to turn left, you would get to River Canopy. You would go up the hill to River Canopy, but we usually go up the river a little bit more and then come back to the cement bridge and then get to Moro Paraíso and get as drunk as lords. In fact, I used to have a tour called Drunken Horseback Ride, where a bunch of us would go up and, and Isabel was on it once, and David was driving the car full of beer.
Ah,
right?
yeah.
So he kind of, we needed a beer, we could get a beer right away.
How handy is that? That's
Yeah.
pretty fun. You guys had some fun times. You still do that? You still do the
Drunken Horseback Ride? No, I haven't done it for a time.
You have to be properly indemnified, don't you? No, wait a minute. This is Mexico. Never mind. So that drunken horseback ride can be dangerous on the way back.
Well, no, not really. I mean, the horses know where to go. You've just got to hold on.
Right.
Actually, it reminds me of not a horse, but a donkey that belonged to a friend of mine called Sin Cola, because he'd gotten into a fight with another donkey that had bitten his tail off.
Oh.
Cola is Spanish for tail. So Sin Cola, he comes to a birthday party when I was living further down towards the beach in a very, very small place. And he came very early, and so he started giving kids rides up and down the street on Sin Cola, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool. By the time other guests started to arrive, he was really hot and sweaty, and he tied Sin Cola to the fender of the pickup truck of my neighbors next door, right outside my front door.
Okay.
And comes in and gets absolutely plastered. Eventually, meanwhile, Sin Cola's outside going, I mean, thirsty, hungry, We eventually physically lift him back on to Cincola because he's out of it. And he's holding on. We undo the tether, and Cincola takes off down the street, like in a hurry. And we're watching him, and he's kind of like swaying from side to side. And we're thinking, oh my God, I mean, is he going to be all right? Next day, he said, I woke up in bed this morning. I don't know how I got there. Cincola knew the way home, took him home. I guess he forgot that he actually put Cincola in the paddock and managed to get into his house and
get into
collapse
his own
on the bed. But
I thought you were
without Cincola, he wouldn't have made it.
I thought you were going to tell me that Cincola was trained. It was one of these helpful horses that actually take you and put you in bed and turn off your light for you. No, huh?
No. He just wanted food and water, and he knew where it was, so he went there.
I love that. So, if somebody wants to, take a horseback ride. Now, are there other rides? There's other rides in other places, right? I mean,
yeah, I've got another contact for rides, but I've been having difficulty booking with them, so I'm going to exclude them from
okay, well, good.
The
well,
news
then
site.
we'll just stick with your guy.
Yeah.
And then you know how to do it. You just contact JR and he'll hook you up.
Right. If you go to the website and go to that particular ride, you'll see a picture, actually, of Rafa holding the head of a horse with Isabel sitting on it.
Good. All right.
Which
That'll
was
be nice.
part of one of the past drunken horseback rides.
Okay, good. All right, good. Well, I'll have some photos of that, too, in the show notes for the episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. And you can look for them there. And, of course, I'll have links to all that stuff. But you just go to vallartainfo.com, and then he's got all that great stuff. And it's easy to find.
His house is right past El Rio Barbecue.
Oh, really?
Oh,
so now will he come? Do you have to go to him, or will he come to you?
Well, he keeps the horses next to his house. It's like the road that goes past El Rio Barbecue kind of turns to the right and goes up a hill.
Yeah.
Right. To the left, there's a dirt path area that goes down to the river.
Okay.
That is right beside his house, and that's where he has the horses.
Well, that's so handy then. And you know that you can get there by cab. You know that you can get there by the number 4 bus. The 04 bus goes right up there.
Right.
And, so that's how you find Rafa.
That's how you do it.
Right on. All right, cool.
All right.
All right. Thank you, JR. Thank you very much. I have a map showing the route that JR took. And by the way, mileage may vary, but the distance from Talpa de Allende to El Tuito is around 70 miles or so. And as a matter of fact, when I was doing a little research to find out the distance, I actually found a blog post that JR had written for somebody. And so I have a link to that in the show notes. I have pictures of his ride as well. So get over there, check it out, and see what it looks like. The backcountry is actually just breathtaking, very beautiful. All right, so next we have 3 lovely people who answered the call, and they came to one of my meet and greets over at Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse back in October. Now, I'd mentioned over on the TripAdvisor forum where we were having a meet and greet, and I invited them to come on by if they were in town to share what they were doing in Paradise. So I got 3. I got Wendy and Nino, who you'll be hearing from. They are a married couple. And I got Virginia, and she's this sweet lady, a widow who came to live in Paradise. And all 3 have great food advice. They've got some great stories, great advice about moving to Paradise. So let's go right now. Let's go to the rooftop of Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse, and let's crash JR's meet and greet. Let's talk with Wendy, Nino, and Virginia about selling it all and moving to our favorite place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Wendy, thanks for coming on the show.
You're very welcome.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path that led you to Puerto Vallarta?
I'm from Jacksonville, North Carolina, and my brother moved to Guadalajara about 25 years ago. And in 2000, he put us in a van and brought us here, and we fell in love.
Well, he put you in a van.
Yes.
So you vanned it in from Guadalajara.
Yes.
You fell in love with Puerto Vallarta. All right. So then what?
Well, we still unfortunately had to work. We retired in 2015. We actually stopped working about the middle of June. We sold our house. We sold the contents of our house. We got in a car and traveled cross country, dropped the heirlooms off with our son in the Bay Area of San Francisco, and got on a plane with 5 suitcases and a dog. And here we are.
Oh, my gosh. Wait a minute now. You only were in Puerto Vallarta once?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's go back here.
Okay.
Let's back up a little bit. Okay, because so you obviously then you returned multiple times. Is that what happened?
We came once or twice a year from 2000 to when we moved here.
Okay, so
in 2015.
All right. So you became a frequent vacationer here.
Yes.
That's what happened. Okay, and then you made the move.
then-
Okay, because oh my God, no, I have met people who have done that. Believe me, I have, and I've interviewed them here. But I'm impressed. That's pretty cool. So I'm impressed that you're here, okay? Because, like many people that listen to this show, they would love to live here if you're not already living here and listening to this show. But, all right, so you sold everything.
Everything.
And you moved down here. Now, did you buy a place or are you renting a place? What are you doing here now?
We were lucky enough that with the money we got from the house and our savings, we could buy a place.
You did?
And so we did.
Okay. And so you're living in town?
Yes, we live right in Zona Romantica,
Oh.
near the Rio Quale. It's wonderful. We're in a great building with fantastic people.
Oh.
I don't have a single negative thing to say about doing this.
Wow. Okay. So because a lot of people, they're hesitant to go all in. I mean, some people will make the move, but they won't make the purchase, But you bought all in. You're all in.
Yeah. We're all in. We
Wow.
have nothing in the United States anymore. And I have to say that in the last 4 years, living here has gotten unbelievably easier with the stores that are available, the products that are available. Even in Zona Romantica, there are so many more places now to shop for food, for essentials.
Yeah.
Than there were 4 years ago, that it's been wonderful.
Wow. Okay. So improvements all around. So, yeah, that's very cool. You have obviously you were a frequent vacationer, and then obviously you've been here for 4 years. And I do have to warn you. I'm meeting a bunch of people who have been here for 4 years. I'm worried about your 5th year. No, I'm kidding. So, do you have any fun stories maybe to tell about?
Well, I
your
have
time
a
here?
fun story about the bar we're sitting in.
Okay, all right.
We were here one night, and there was a great band playing, and everyone was dancing and carrying on and, being kind of normal for Puerto Vallarta. And this one lady got up on the bar and started dancing on the bar, and there used to be a ceiling fan right there on the corner. She hit her head on it.
Oh!
It sliced open her forehead. There was blood all over the floor. Everyone's running around. The Red Cross came. They bandaged her up. We cleaned up the floor. And I thought, for sure, the next time we came here, there'd be something about no dancing on the bar. Oh, no. You can still dance on the bar. They just took the ceiling fan out.
Yeah, they had OSHA come in and say, "Oh, we can fix that. Just take that thing out."
And that's kind of Vallarta. That's how it is here. You want to have fun? You can have fun. We're not going to stop you from having fun. We'll change everything around you so you can keep having a good time.
Excellent. Yeah, just watch out for those Mexican air conditioners.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, let's do what I usually do with all of my guests. Let's do the bonus round. I want to ask you about your favorite breakfast, lunch, and dinner places. Now, they don't have to be just one. You can name off a couple if you like them.
Okay.
But for breakfast, what would be your favorite place?
We really like Langostinos and Freddy's. But there's also Mi Cafe, which is wonderful. So it depends on the mood we're in. If we want the beach, if we just want to walk a couple blocks, or if we want Mi Cafe, but
Which
they're
is
all
a couple
great.
more blocks.
Yeah, which is a few more blocks. Exactly.
Yeah, I understand that they're
Lunch?
doing an expansion right now over at Mi Cafe.
Yes, they are. I
Yeah,
heard that.
Which
I haven't
is
been
bumming
up
me
there.
out because I can't eat there this week or next week. So I'll have to wait till January to see what he did over there. When you go to Langostino's, what do you get?
Huevos Florentinos.
Oh, okay.
I think they have the best hollandaise sauce in Vallarta. It's very lemony, and it's spinach. You know, the spinach is perfect. The eggs are perfect, and you're sitting on the beach.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
It's gorgeous. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I like Langostino's. Good choice. What about lunch?
We're not really big lunch eaters, actually. We don't go out very often for lunch.
No, what if you did? What if you did? What if someone forced you to go out and have lunch?
When we have company, and we like to go to Manson.
Okay.
They have very nice little lunch bites. And, of course, it's craft beer, so you can't go wrong. And a lot of people really like Los Muertos for their lunch special, which is great. Oh, another place that's really nice to have lunch is Abuelos, right on the beach across from Lázaro Cárdenas Park.
Yeah.
That's a very pleasant place to sit. It's shaded.
It's called Abuelos?
It gets a good breeze. Yes.
Is it on the beach?
Yes, it's right on the beach.
Okay, so it's like where all those shops are,
Yes.
where Roberto's Silver Shop is, and all that other
You
stuff.
definitely have to look for their sign.
You do, because
But
I don't.
Los
think
Abuelos is very, very good.
Okay.
Very nice.
And what do you get when you go there again?
Okay, it varies. Enchiladas, ensaladas. They have a pretty generous menu, so
Okay, Mexican mostly.
mostly Mexican.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Cool. All right. How about dinner?
Hands down, our favorite place to eat dinner is Cuates y Cuetas.
Ah, yes. Okay.
It was the first place we went to in Puerto Vallarta. When we first started coming here, we stayed at the Marsol Hotel.
Oh, really?
Yes, for 3 years we stayed at the
No,
Marsol.
you
Yeah.
did. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
And so Cuates y Cuetas is, it's wonderful. It's Mexican owned. It's authentic Mexican food. I think they have the best black beans ever, and it's delicious. We've never had a bad meal there. Our other favorite for dinner, if we want to be a little more upscale, is Barcelona Tapas.
Ah, yeah. Can't beat that view, can
Yes. And Barrio Bistro in Versailles. They're all fabulous. But really and truly, we're like little homing pigeons. We go to Cuates y Cuetas more than anywhere else.
Hey, you're not alone. I do the same thing. It's okay. I was there last night.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, we were too.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, we were on the beach.
Oh, well, I wasn't. I was inside.
Oh, okay.
But they got great music. I love going there for dinner because, they've
Have
got
you ever
this-
had their chicken soup?
Yeah, I go there for the tortillas and chicken soup. That's what I go for. I don't have to go anywhere else. Just
No.
there. And they serve it with buttered and toasted French bread, so you can't go wrong. It's really quite good.
It's fabulous.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
it's the best. It's the best $6 you'll ever spend, you guys. So just remember that. If you want to go to Cuates y Cuetas, do that. All right, so Cuates y Cuetas and Barrio Bistro, and the third one was
Barcelona.
Tapas. All right. When you go to Barcelona Tapas, what you get anything special there?
Bacon wrapped dates are unbelievable. The shrimp and crab croquettes, and I don't normally like croquettes, but these are awesome. And the beef on a stick is also fabulous.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, the view is fantastic
view,
up there. It's just,
no,
you
you
can't
can't
beat
beat
that.
it.
And they have an elevator now, you guys. So, if you had trouble getting there last time you were in town, it's running. It's up and running. So, very cool. Do you have a word of advice for a first-time traveler to Puerto Vallarta?
I actually do. First of all, get out on the water. Either go by water taxi or rent a panga, because the view of Vallarta from the water is life-changing. And you just need to do that. If you spend all the money to get here, rent the panga and go out and see it from the bay, because it is a whole different experience. The other advice I would have is don't overplan. Wander. Just wander around and go into the places that look interesting and soak it in, because that's the kind of place it is. It's in that way it reminds me of Paris, where you just stroll around and it's like, oh wow, look at that. And there's just a new discovery and a new experience around every corner. And if you try to just do the touristy things, for lack of a better word, because I really hate that expression, but if you just do that, you're going to miss what is most important about this town.
Yeah, very good. How about words of warning? Any words of warning for somebody?
Well, it's never really smart to be staggering drunk and leave a bar at 2 o'clock in the morning and think you're going to be okay anywhere. So if you are staggering drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning, get a taxi or an Uber. Don't walk home. But this is a safe town. It's really... I feel safer here than I've felt anywhere, seriously, in the world. But, you can't... It's just using common sense.
Right.
Use common sense, and you'll be fine. Oh, and one other word of warning. If someone asks you in Spanish how you are, ¿cómo está?, do not answer muy bueno, because that means you're good in bed. I learned that the hard way.
All right, go ahead. Tell them how you should respond. Muy bien,
Muy bien.
right? Muy bien, right? Not muy bueno. Not, I'm really good, okay? I'm really good. That's pretty funny. Wendy, who
Muy
knew?
caliente.
Who
Ooh,
knew?
ooh.
Yeah. Is there anything I'm missing? Is there something you want to add before we say goodbye?
Yes, there is, actually. Some people, judging from some of the posts I read on TripAdvisor, come to this city thinking that everyone here is out to rip them off, take advantage of them, that they have to watch every nickel and dime or haggle about everything. That really isn't reality. I've never met more generous people in my life than I have here with the Mexican friends who I have. And please remember the exchange rate on your dollar if you're from the United States. So if you think, oh my God, I gave him 50 pesos extra.
That's $2.50.
It's $2.50. It's not, you're not even going to know that. So relax, have a good time, and don't worry about that, because anything you do give over and above, that's needed and appreciated. And you gain so much street cred for that it's worth every penny. So relax. They're not all here to take your money. Most of the people here are here to help you and support you and are just really good people.
Yeah, they're here to make your time a better time.
Exactly.
Just like the people of Puerto Vallarta are trained to. They take such good pride in that. They really do. Wendy, I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for giving all this great advice to my listeners.
Happy to do it.
All right, Virginia. Hey, thanks for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's wine time.
It's wine time. That's right. I'm sitting with 3 people imbibing. So be careful, everybody. If this doesn't turn out right, there's a reason for it. Virginia, where are you from, and what was your path that led you to Puerto Vallarta?
I'm from Chicago. I lived there all of my life. I had a wonderful life there, but and my husband and I visited Puerto Vallarta often, and I think we would have ended here together. But after his death, I was living in Chicago, and our life wasn't nearly as much fun in Chicago without him as it had been with him. And so I embarked on a new life.
You did?
And
wow.
I chose here.
Yeah. Well, you chose right, as we all like to say. So you chose here. When did you come here?
About 4 years ago.
So you're a member of the 4-year club.
Yes, I am.
All right.
I had
right.
no idea I had so much company.
Yeah, you are. I'm telling you, this town is full of 4-year people. I'm still looking for the 5-year person, but I'm going to find them. I know there's 20-year people here, but the 5-year person, that's the one that's really hard to nail down. So did you do the same thing? Did you sell everything? Did you sell everything and move? What did you do?
I did. I pretty much sold everything, or disposed of it. When I go back to Chicago and visit to my nieces, I visit my furniture, much of it, and crystal and china and all of that good stuff. But
lucky nieces.
But yes,
yeah.
I just disposed of nearly everything.
Very good.
And came here.
And now we're sitting with 3 people here. Did you come with them?
No.
No, you came all by yourself.
I came all by myself.
Wow.
Against the advice of everyone who loved me.
I was going to say, that must have been really tough to explain that to your family, right? That I'm leaving. I'm going to Mexico.
They were worried about me. They, I think, are very fond of me, and they were afraid it was dangerous. I come from Chicago.
Yeah. You tell them that. What's dangerous, folks? Wow. Okay, so did you buy? Are you renting? What are you doing there?
I bought. I sold the home that we had there and was able to buy here. And having been here many times, I knew exactly where I wanted to be, and that's where I am.
And that's where you are. So where do you like to be? Are you in the romantic zone too?
C. Oh, yes.
Well, C is okay. My listeners understand C and no, but other than that, so it's kind of iffy. All right. Do you have any interesting stories to tell about? You've been here for 4 years. Any crazy stuff ever happened that you might want to?
Well, I did everything wrong about coming.
Yeah.
But it can all be fixed.
Oh, so she's not going to tell us all the things that went wrong.
Well, I did. I came without having done the paperwork. One must start it in your home city.
Yes.
But I was assured that wasn't necessary, and so...
So you had to go back to Chicago
and
go back to the Mexican consulate in Chicago. Okay.
But I've done all of my learning in my life the hard way, and so I've gotten really actually quite good at it.
I love it. All right. So are you a permanent resident yet after 4 years? Are you permanent? Are you permanente? Or are you temporal?
On the 23rd of this month, I'll be eligible to apply for my permanent.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. You'll have your own green card. That's nice. Any other stories? You could say no. It's okay. Or you could say yes.
No. Not that I can think of.
Or nothing that you could tell me?
Because it's so easy to have friends here. I moved into a condominium building with, I think, probably the best people in Puerto Vallarta. Kind, wonderful people. The Mexican people are wonderful. The expats are wonderful. Having friends isn't a problem. And I've kept my friends in Chicago as well.
Sure, because they want to come
They
and
all
visit
come
you.
and visit me, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't have nearly as many house guests in Chicago as I have here.
No, I bet you didn't. So let's go right away then to the bonus round with you. Do you have a favorite breakfast, lunch, or dinner place that you can share with us? For breakfast,
As a
let's
rule,
say.
I don't eat breakfast.
Okay,
but,
you're like a lot of people around here. But if you were going to eat breakfast, where would you eat breakfast?
Well, I have a friend who comes down fairly often, and when we meet for breakfast, we do it at Lapa Lapa. When I have breakfast alone, I go to Kaiser Maximilian and I order an order of bacon, a toasted English muffin, and a bloody Caesar. And the waiter loves me and knows me, and I call it the breakfast of champions.
Oh, yeah. You kidding me, Virginia? You're all right. And those are two great places to go for breakfast. And you all know how much I love Lapa Lapa, you guys. And Lapa Lapa is the best deal for breakfast in Puerto Vallarta.
It is. It's wonderful.
So, yeah, it's not like the cheapest, but it is not expensive, and it is first-class service. You know, with the linen tablecloths and the napkins and the view of the Los Muertos Pier. You can't go wrong there. You're good. You're all right. I'll go to breakfast with you. How about lunch?
As a rule, I don't do lunch.
Wait
the
a
only
minute.
time
You don't
I do
do
lunch
any-
is when friends come in on the cruise ship, and then I usually take them to Daiquiri Dick's or Vitea.
Ah,
They're both on the water, and they're both very good.
yeah. And you really can't go wrong with either one of those, and you won't tick off any of your friends. You won't get them sick on the way home. I like that. How about dinner? Don't tell me you don't usually eat dinner.
I do.
Okay, because you're shrinking down to almost nothing.
I know. Well, for dinner, I love Trio. It's an old-time restaurant, and it's sort of dear to me because it goes back to when my husband was alive and we were traveling here. We often had dinner there.
What do you get when you go there? What do you eat when you go there?
A martini and the foie gras.
All right. See, once again, a nice combination. We're getting down there. I like, she's blushing. She's blushing, but I like her. Okay, a martini and foie gras. That's great. All right, nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice combo. What else?
Well, it's a lovely restaurant. The chef is really quite brilliant.
Yeah.
The fish is always very good. He does wonderful risotto. And the staff is actually the same staff. It's one of the dear things about many of the restaurants here, that the staff knows you, and so it's like being a guest in the restaurant.
Yeah.
As though it's their home. It's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah, it is. It's great. And it is amazing how a lot of these restaurants, well, some of the nicer restaurants, they're making some good money. They're probably not leaving, right? Yeah. Do you have a word of advice for a first-time traveler to Puerto Vallarta?
My experience is from looking at Facebook that people seem to overthink it so much. If you decide, just come. It'll work out. It's sometimes difficult at first. But if you belong here, I think you'll know it.
Yeah. Excellent. And how about any words of warning? Do you have any words of warning for somebody?
Oh, a word of warning. I feel it's safe. I certainly feel safe. I was gifted from childhood with an iron cast stomach.
Yes, I know, because we got the foie gras with the martini and the... yeah, I get it.
So I don't, I'm afraid I'm not qualified to give advice. Some people have trouble with the changes in food or water.
But not you.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's maybe just don't overdo it and see how it works, right?
Oh,
a lot
about
of times
the
it's
alcohol.
a lot of times.
Well, one must remain hydrated.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's where the alcohol comes in. And we know that, Virginia, right? Yes, because you sterilize all your food before it goes down. It's really good. Is there anything else? Am I missing anything that you want to add? Oh, let me ask you another question. Although maybe you don't, because, I don't know. Do you have a favorite coffee shop?
Well,
you could say no.
I do, but it's Starbucks.
Oh, okay. I won't ask you then. All right. So is there anything else you want to add?
Yes, because people talk about the weather and the water. I think it's the people. Culturally, these people are magnificent people. They're the most generous, loving, hospitable people I know of, and I've traveled some. And that makes it tremendously worthwhile to try to learn the language if you don't know it, because the closer you can become to the people who live here, the more rewarding the experience will be.
Excellent. Well said. Well, Virginia, thank you so much for talking with me today. And, I know that you came from the TripAdvisor forum. I made an announcement, and that's why you're here. So thank you for coming and for sharing your experiences with my listeners. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Nino, thanks for joining me today.
And I have to warn you that Wendy and I have been together for 35 years, so I'm probably not going to have any different answers from her. But
okay. Well, I think you might. Tell me about yourself. You are also from
Western New York.
Uh-huh.
Actually from Endicott, New York, home of IBM.
Uh-huh.
And then, like Wendy, we moved to North Carolina because we were so sick of snow. And then we came here.
Wow. And so we already heard that story about how you sold everything and moved. And
yeah, we got to know Puerto Vallarta because Wendy's brother moved here 25 years ago for business. He opened a factory for his company and actually ended up buying the factory from them because he was so successful. But so a lot of what we did when we first came down here was meet him here and travel all over the place because he's really crazy too. So he took us to the Predator site and all those places. So we got to see the big places with him.
Yeah. Do you have a special tour or maybe a special place in the Bay that you like to visit?
The thing I love the most, this is not what you're looking for, but the thing I love the most is just walking around the streets.
Yeah.
I walk with my dog twice a day, and I get to go around, and during the winter we go a lot further. But, we just I love the fact that we can just walk along, and you're walking along the ocean, or you're walking in a neighborhood, and you get to see people that you know, and they say hi to you. Or if I don't have the dog with me, they say, "Where's the dog?"
Right.
It's not "Hi, Nino." It's "Where's the dog?"
Yeah, where's the dog? Yeah.
Yeah. But there are just so many places here that you can find to do. But the best thing is just walking around and seeing people and talking to people. And
do you have a favorite neighborhood that you like to walk around?
Where we are, Emiliano Zapata.
Yeah.
We have a little dog, so we don't walk that far. We go into across the river into Cinco de Diciembre some, but just walking around here, it's always different. Everything changes.
When I was talking with Wendy, she was talking about learning the language. Are you guys learning Spanish?
We keep trying. I mean, we've been studying for years in various things, group. You know, in North Carolina before we left, we took college classes. We've been taking individual classes with Kari for 2 years.
Who's Kari?
Kari Martinez is a Spanish teacher.
Ah.
She is wonderful. She comes to your place. She won't speak English, so it's all Spanish.
All Spanish. Yeah.
And she works with people who, our neighbor had to learn the alphabet. He was that basic.
Wow.
And she worked with him, and she's just great.
Wow.
And she tells us a lot about, this is the way we do it in Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay, so they may say something you learn something in Spanish, and she'll go, no, that's not Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Or that's not Puerto Vallarta.
Got it. Yeah.
And she knows, she's really knowledgeable. She's from Mexico City, so she knows how they do it in Mexico City. She knows how they do it here or in different parts of Mexico. And that's one of the things I would advise people is, if you're going to come down here, learn some Spanish.
Yeah.
Not only learn some Spanish, but when you talk to people, look at them in the eye. I see a lot of people, like if you're on the beach and the vendors come around and people will say, no gracias, but they won't even look them in the eye. You know, they just don't even look up. Those are people earning a living.
Yeah.
You know, so when you go to a store or something like that, try to speak some Spanish. They'll appreciate it. And, you know, look people in the eye.
Be polite. Look them in the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you miss something? Do you miss anything from home?
You know, the only time I miss something is if we're watching TV and a new product comes on, and I think, oh, that would be really nice to have, but I know we're not going to have it unless we can order it from Amazon and get it down here.
Yeah.
But that happens a lot less now over the years. I know we used to have, when we have friends come down, we used to have an order of stuff sent to them so they could bring it down.
Yeah.
And now they don't even ask, because we don't ask. We can get it here.
You can get it
and
here.
If we can't get it here, we don't need it.
Excellent.
And that's really kind of a Mexican thing too. You know, it's, if you don't have it, you probably don't need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Related to that, our son is in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we went up to visit. It had been about a year. Yeah, over a year. And we walked into CVS, and we just went, oh, my God, look at all this stuff. Oh, my God, we can buy this, we can buy that, we can buy this. And it was like, oh. And now it's like, I mean, I think we spent almost $300 the first time we were there.
That's dangerous, man.
It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
But, you know, now the last time we were there, we walked into CVS. We had a couple of things that we knew we wanted to get, mostly some kind of medication or whatever, you know. But other than that, it was like, don't need that.
You don't need that. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what movie that was. It was with Robin Williams, and he was from Russia, and he walked into the supermarket.
Oh, yes.
And he went crazy because he couldn't figure out which coffee to buy. Let's talk about restaurants. Do you have a favorite lunch, dinner, and breakfast place other than the ones that Wendy likes?
Well, for breakfast and lunch, I don't know if I can add anything, because we usually eat it at home.
Okay.
Unless we have company.
Right.
And they all want to go to Freddy's or to Langostino's, stuff like that. Dinner, I would add places like Bravo's, right here in the neighborhood, Siam, right here in the neighborhood. Jorge's Hideaway Shrimp Shack is great. I mean, Jorge and his family are just like, when we go there, it's Mama, Papa. Oh, yes, and definitely Divino Dante.
Huh? Tell me about Divino Dante.
Divino Dante is a restaurant that is run by Gina Guarneri. The Guarneri family owns the art gallery, and it's just wonderful because they have very unique dishes. and you're looking down at the gallery and seeing some really fantastic art, and it's just wonderful. And they're always very warm. Claire Guarneri will come up if she's done down in the gallery, and she'll sit with you at the table once she gets to know you. Gina comes over. That's another thing here. A little warning for people in the United States: if you're not into hugging and kissing people, both the same sex and the other sex, that takes a little bit of getting used to. Now, I'm from an Italian family, so it was fine for me.
Yeah.
Wendy's from a more English, Irish, German family, and it was kind of hard for her at first. But, people hug here. They kiss here. After the first time they meet you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, get used to that.
Takes a little getting used to, huh?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay.
If you're from one of those Puritan backgrounds, don't be offended. They're doing it because they're friendly.
Yeah, yeah.
And life is short.
Yeah, no kidding. So, Divino Dante, I imagine, is Italian.
No.
No? Am I wrong?
It's a little bit of everything.
Oh, okay.
And they have great tapas. They have great, dishes from all over the world. And now I always just drink wine or Irish whiskey, but I understand their bartender is like an award winner. I mean, if you are into different kinds of cocktails, you want to go there.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, I've never actually, all these years, I've never been to Divino Dante. I got to go.
You must go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you go through the gallery, and then you go up there, and it's just like a different world.
Wow. All right. You sold me. I'm going.
And that's their former home, too. That's where they first lived when they moved to Puerto Vallarta.
Neat.
And it's just special. And they've just done a remodeling, which is really amazing because it's already the best gallery around. And they decided, no, we're not going to settle. We're going to make it better. And so they redid it.
They kicked it up a notch.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, I'm on my way. Maybe I'll go do an interview over there. What kind of word of advice would you give to a first-time visitor?
Depending on where you are. Now, if you're in a resort or in Nuevo or in the hotel zone, probably wouldn't be very good for you. But if you're in Cinco de Diciembre or Emiliano Zapata or Conchas Chinas or Mapas, walk around. I mean, we didn't do enough of that in the years before we moved here, and we thought that we knew Vallarta. 15 years of coming to Vallarta, we thought we knew it. We didn't know anything. We didn't know how anything worked. We didn't really know how the streets were put together and stuff like that. Oh, and along with that, stop in at Kelly's Por Favor on Tuesdays and talk with JR.
Yeah.
Because JR straightened us out on a lot of things.
Okay.
We came here, when we first moved here, we came here every Tuesday for a while, and we just listened to him talk. We'd ask him questions, and he'd tell us how things worked. Look at his website, Vallarta Info.
Excellent. Yeah. I mean, you won't get a argument out of me for that one. I'll tell you that right now.
And he's not going to bullshit you. Can I say that?
No, you can say BS. How about BS you?
He can't BS you. Or he won't BS you.
No, he won't.
Because he cares. He's lived here for 25 years, or maybe it's 300 years. I'm not sure. And he knows how things work.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you walked around Amapas and where else did you say you went? Over Conchas Chinas and everything like that. There's some great houses and great properties up there, too, and the views are beautiful. So,
when we first moved here, we rented in Conchas Chinas. We rented in a beautiful place up on the hill. It was Upper Conchas Chinas. And we had a great view of the ocean and everything. Now, this is me personally. Boring. I mean, we would get so it would be like, oh, I wonder if any iguanas will come out today. Or I wonder if any of the squirrels around here will do some suicide leap to another tree. You know, if you really like watching just water all the time, yeah, that's fine. But, you know, we don't have an ocean view. It's a block and a half away from us. But it's more exciting to just walk around and talk to people and see people. And, you know, that's better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
My other advice for somebody coming here is use the ATMs for your money. Well, first of all, don't try to use your dollars or Canadian dollars here, because if you use them, then the people just have to go to the bank, stand in line, and get a lousy exchange rate. Use the ATMs, get pesos. The ATMs are good. They give you a good exchange rate, you know, and that way you're not creating a problem for the people you're buying from.
Good point. Yeah, and make sure that ATM is attached to a bank, folks. It's always important that, you know, don't go stick your card in the cashola machine, you know.
Well, the other day I went to a different bank because the other two were not working. I went to a different bank and stupid me left my ATM card in the bank. In the
machine.
Yeah.
Ah.
And it turned out, I just discovered it today, 3 days later, there were no extra charges on it.
No.
So I just called my bank and said cancel.
Yeah, send me a new one.
Yeah, but the ATMs are safe. They're, you know, and don't use the cambios because they may give you a great rate, but by the time you finish with all the charges, you're going to end up not as good.
Good point. Good point. Any words of warning other than the ATM, I guess, is one of them.
Don't be stupid.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there are a lot of people who come down here to party, especially in season.
Yeah.
And if you hear about anybody having trouble, it's because they're walking around the streets drunk at 1:30 in the morning. I mean, that would be stupid in the United States. It would be stupid in Canada. It would be stupid anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But people think that, oh, it's party town. No. Just don't be dumb. I mean, it's a safe place. It's very safe here. And just, you know, enjoy. And if you're going to go out drinking, take an Uber or a cab home.
Yeah. Uber or cab is right.
Even if it's 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
Take an Uber or a cab.
Absolutely. If you're drunk, you know, those steps, you can fall and hurt yourself.
Oh, yes.
And, you know,
and you will hurt yourself on the sidewalks.
Believe me, I've seen plenty of bruised and beaten people, and
we've
it's
all
just because.
Fallen.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Other than just, I mean, I can't say enough about just walking around and saying hello to people. You're going to see smiles from people who have almost nothing. And, you know, just enjoy that. Leave all your baggage at home. Because you really can renew yourself by coming here if you don't come with the baggage and don't worry about being cheated, you know, like Wendy said. I mean, there are hustlers everywhere.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you are not going to be cheated, and people are going to be friendly. And even if they charge you a little bit more, think of what they're charging you.
Right. It's not a lot of money.
I mean, one of the reasons we moved to Mexico, too, is if we were still living in the United States on 2 teacher pensions and Social Security, we'd probably be sitting around with 3 channels on our TV and able to go out once a month.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not that expensive. Don't do the conversion in your head.
No. Right, exactly. Well, those are all great words of advice, and I'm glad that all of you found the meet and greet here today. I know you've found the meet and greet before because, you know, JR over here, he's been doing the meet and greet for how many years, JR? JR's been doing the meet and greet for 35 years. Okay, so
35?
Long time.
yeah.
I think there was an insult in there.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Way.
I don't think
no,
so.
I won't see it that way.
Nino, thanks very much for coming on the show. Thanks for sharing all of your experiences with my listeners.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for doing this. I mean, you really do get all the interesting people here in Vallarta.
I do. Look, I got you three. Come on.
You got us as a respite.
I got Wendy. I got Virginia. I got Nino. I am cooking with gas right here. Thanks very much, you guys.
You're welcome, and thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nino. And thank you, Virginia and Wendy. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing all your experiences with us. I have links to the things and the places that we talked about. They're all there in the show notes. And, of course, you can find it all at www.PuertoVallartaTravelShow.com. All right. Well, that should do it for this week. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, then please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, it's a value-for-value proposition, my friends. His experiences and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for you're making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you're going to be using someone else, so just do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he's got his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. And I have links to all of those in the show notes. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe and give me a good review on iTunes if you would. That way we can get the word out to more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, what's wrong with you? Get over there. You really need to have a look. I have links and pictures of all the things and interesting things that we talk about right there in the blog posts and in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Thank you, JR. Thanks for your horseback ride story. I have a link to his blog, once again, right there in the show notes. Read it if you plan to ever take that trip. And again, I want to thank our three friends, Virginia, Wendy, and Nino. Thanks for taking your time out of your day to share your experiences with all of us. And don't forget, make sure to donate to Vallarta Food Bank. I have links to all of those in the show notes. And thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler, signing off with a wish for you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
De Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino eterno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta.